Oh my goodness. I think it felt like the first day off in a millennium last night. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was going to do this, I was going to do that. Instead, all I did was go to the movies and relax, which was nice. Today we have 13 horses in everywhere. I'm going to drive 3 at Georgian Downs, and then we got a bunch at Hanover in stake races, and we have some at Kawartha Downs, and we actually have another one racing in Illinois because the races were canceled yesterday. Shh, buddy. So, just so much to talk about this time of year. Obviously, the first sale has yearlings in it on Tuesday, and I had a lot of clients say, you know, it's that first Ohio sale. Here's the scoop on this Ohio sale. You have the Ohio Select, the Buckeye, and this sale. A lot of people will sell their horses in this sale, and there's a lot of really good-looking horses, and I'm going to go over some of them later on in the videos. A lot of good-looking horses in this sale. Now, there's not a lot of videos for some of the horses, which is surprising in this day and age, so I want to look at them hands-on. I'm going to be there. I'm flying from the Poconos to Ohio Monday. We have 3 horses in another fair, the Camden, I think Camden Fair. Forgive me if I get that wrong. That fair is on Monday. We've Overdue Mission. Guys, we've Overdue Mission, Susie K, and Ailson making her first fair appearance. That is on Monday. Tuesday, Jason and I, Danny O'Brien's in Ohio also. Going to get up real early on Tuesday, head over to the sale. We're going to take some horses from our barn in Ohio over that are selling on Wednesday. And then we are going to look at all the babies. There's 131 of them. I had a list here. There's a bunch I want to look at. Now, the horses I'm going to talk about today, they only had videos. Obviously, there's no point in me talking about them if I haven't had more reference than you. I mean, you're looking at the same pedigree I am. So really, it's going to be a hands-on... Oliver. It's going to be a hands-on thing. I have a lot of numbers I want to look at. The ones that had videos that I liked or disliked, I'm going to talk about today. We got a lot of racing going on this week. Let's run through that quick. Tomorrow I'm going to drive... Well, tonight, I told you, Ontario. We have a ton of horses in. 14, actually. Ava, shush, please. I'm not talking. You're both talking. Pennsylvania, tomorrow we have Libero, Hanover, Willpower Fashion, Sebastian Yu. Libero, Hanover is in the hunt in the Stallion Series standings, 5th or 6th, I think, right now. Raced decent the other day, finished 3rd. Looking for a secure, looking for a line into the Stallion Series. I don't know if the other 2 colts can make it. I would think it's a long shot, which is upsetting because I think Willpower Fashion's got a lot to offer. He's still got some stakes left after this, and Sebastian Yu, I would say one of our top prospects heading into 2020, just because he's got a lot of maturing to do. We might even race him a couple more times and then kick him out for the year, but I think this colt's finally starting to get it. You could see his last start. He sat in the hole quietly, behaved. When he moved him, he put a couple of steps in. I think his hobbles were a little tight. We're going to make a little shoeing, we made a little equipment adjustment on him for tomorrow night, and I think it'll really help. Then we have on the filly side, Rose Run Versatile, who was sitting 12th, but we opted not to race her. I'm going to turn her out. She's had a long year. She was sick twice when she raced. That's a pretty taxing year for our girl. So she ended up making 17 or 18,000. We're going to kick her out. Harness AM, second start on Lasix tomorrow. Just drew the worst. All 3 of our horses drew the outside, which is, I don't know what the odds are of that. They're very slim, but drew the outside tomorrow and has her work cut out for her from post 8 in with some real Bearcats. The crappy part of this is, 1, it's going to be tough to make money tomorrow. 2, I don't think she can lose enough points to make it into the consolation, which is, it puts her in a tough spot. I mean, this is a really good filly in, as we've said millions of times, the deepest end of the pool, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. Either way, win, lose, or draw, she's been a good filly for us, and I'm expecting great things from her as a 3-year-old. Now, just for me and you, has just a little bit worse luck than Harness AM. She's always drawing bad, always drew a tough division. I tried to leave her there the other day. She got out of gear leaving. I ended up 3rd over into a slowing pace, picked up the last 3/8, and she ended up 4th. Path of Totality's in the hunt for the Stallion Series, I believe, with a 1st, 2nd, a couple of 4ths. Trotted 56 and 2 the other day and finished 4th. She's going to be a really, really nice 3-year-old also. This filly's got it all figured out. I'd like to get those hobbles back off her. If you can remember, we trained this filly down without hobbles. She never needed them. It was always mental maturity with her, and I think as she grows up in the winter, I think you're going to see a very nice 3-year-old without hobbles on. Then you looked at Ohio. We've secured 3 positions in the $300,000 final next Sunday. Globe-trotting with an absolutely dominating performance the other day. Spend That Money. We caught a lot of flack. People saying, why don't you do this with Spend That Money? Why don't you do that? Spend That Money's trotted her slowest mile outside of her maiden victory in 58. She trotted in 57 the other day. She passed a couple of horses. She held her position down the lane. Was she great? No. Was she horrible? No. She was lackluster in the eyes of everybody because they expect her to be the best filly in Ohio, and she hasn't been the last few weeks. She struggled with these allergies, and we think that we have her going in the right direction. There was some progression. Now, there was quite a lot of regression from her first 2 starts to her next 2, but I do see some progression in this one. A favorable draw, a good trip, who knows? I don't think she's the worst filly in there. I think she's probably 5th or 6th best right now heading in. And remember, we're on a half-mile track, and the great equalizer is that all-important draw. So we'll see what happens with Spend That Money. Compass Rose DC, again, a little flat the other day, but guys, a little flat the other day, but when you figure she was coming off such an impressive performance where she was last and swooped up to be 2nd, I think Compass Rose DC is absolutely in the hunt. Obviously, the big story of the super finals, if you will, outside of Globetrotting and some other storylines, is the fact that the leader, Irv Miller's filly, is in the sale on Tuesday. Now, I've had a couple of people call and say, are we interested in her? No. I think she's going to be overpriced. I think she's a nice filly, but it's okay. What's that?
You told me you said I'm taking my card.
No, Ava fibbed.
No, you said.
Why do you want to take that card?
You said.
Okay, Ava, let Mommy in, please, honey. All right. This filly's also struggled on a half-mile track. I forget her name, Uncle Peter's Love or something. She struggled on the half-mile track before. She's going into a track that is not going to suit her, and I think she's going to be grossly overpriced at the Ohio sale. Maybe not. Either way, my concerns are not with Uncle Peter's Love. I wish them all the luck in the world in the $300,000 race, but I think we're good where we sit. Ailsund pretty much secured a spot in the Buckeye final and the Consolation. Things went exactly how I hoped they would in both cases. As I said, I'm going to be wrong sometimes, but this certainly wasn't one of those times. I think this is absolutely best case scenario for our girl Ailsund. She's going to race in the Consolation of the Sire Stakes and also in the Buckeye final. She's still got another Buckeye race. We have a ton of horses. This is another thing I wanted to mention off the top. I'll touch on it again later. We have a ton of horses racing Little Brown Jug Week in Delaware. I didn't realize how many until I looked closer. There is a lot. So I think Kelly and I were going to reach out to the Jug Society and see what we can do. The only time I've ever been to Little Brown Jug, we were in the VIP tent in the turn. It would be nice to secure some seats in there for our clients. So probably, Kelly, once we figure out what our options are and what we can actually do, I think then we'll send out an RSVP and say, hey, how many of you would like to come? This is what we can do. This is what our offers are. And then we'll go from there. I suspect a ton of our clients will want to go to Ohio. So that's cool. That's neat. Then Overdue Mission. She's the leader in the Buckeye Series, so we've secured at least 2 spots. Oh, baby. So at least 2 spots for the Buckeye final, and hopefully Susie K can sneak in there also. Colt side's a little weaker. Yours if you want, it's in the sale. I am going to protect him to a certain amount. I think he's got some talent. I think we have a lot of loyal clients that like this colt. So the one thing you must remember, we do have some horses going through the sale. There'll be 3 horses out of the 14 that I will have reserves on. I don't want to say who they are. I'll be talking to our clients about who they are, the people that own those horses. Now, for what it's worth, whatever the horses bring in the sale, if we protect them to that dollar amount and you would rather get paid than stay involved, that's absolutely an option, 100%. So I'll let the cat out of the bag. And actually, you know what? I don't know why I have to tell anybody. I think there's 3 horses that are worth protecting in the sale. Yours if you want it for various reasons. I won't be protecting Crazy Mission's sale price as far as, oh, we need X amount. Well, technically I will. I'm worried he's not going to bring very much at all. and I think he could be a useful 3-year-old. Is he a stake horse? No. We just finished selling Bend Over for 16,000 American, which is he's probably worth twice as much as Crazy Mission. If we were to get 8 or 9 or 10,000 for him, I'd sell him, but I'm worried we're going to get a lot less. If he's going for nothing, I will retain Crazy Mission, and if everybody wants to stay involved, great. If you want to cash out, that's fine too. So yours if you want a Crazy Mission. The third horse is Sunshine Inn. The reason being, she still fits the class she's in for quite a while. And what we might even do is when we get her to Ohio, if we buy her back, hey, Addie Bear, jeepers. We might actually race her once in Ohio before we bring her home with Jason's crew. I don't know. We will shop her. But at the same time, I know she has some money, both residual value. I know one of our clients said she's not worth a lot of money as a broodmare. I don't know a ton about breeding, but I would softly disagree. You know, there's a lot of black print in her family, bred to the right cross. I think, listen, we've bid on, bought, and looked at a lot of horses bred worse than Sunshine Inn. Sunshine Inn's maternal family. So again, I don't know much. I'm out of my depth when it comes to what she's worth as a broodmare, but at the same time, I know what she's worth as a racehorse. We turned down 20,000 Canadian because I don't think she's worth. I think she's worth more than 20,000 Canadian. Sure, she loses a little allowance, but if you don't think I can knock out $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 between now and when she loses her allowance, then you're wrong. And her allowance is not going to be a loss of that. It'll be a loss of 25% of what she has right now. She'll end up going for 22, 21, something like that. Well, 50% as a 4-year-old is 22.5. She's worth 22.5 minimum on January 1st, and I think she's got some money to make before then. So I would think she's probably worth I would think around 18 American down in Ohio. 17, 18, I think that's a fair price for her. I couldn't possibly take 20,000 for her, and that would be minimum. You know, she's sound. She's obviously showing a little spark to her now. She's second in 55 her last 2 starts. Did it the hard way the other day, whacked it out. Now, she's as I said in my post-race synopsis, she's a habitual loser. She likes to lose. She likes to get beat at the wire. She's got no killer instinct, but she is effective, and I can name you 4 or 5 horses that I think are... The reason I say that about her is because I know she's an underachiever. I know she could be so much better if she just put forth an effort, and she just chooses to put forth smidge, just a tiny effort. What are you doing back there? So, where was I at? So those are the horses we'll be looking at to sale to watch. And you look at Ontario racing this week. We have Capistrano. Miss Brampton Beast is coming off 2 wins in a row in 55. Capistrano, I can assure you, is every bit as tight as she needs to be tonight. We trained her 2 weeks ago in 57. I trained her the other day. She was very good. Oh my goodness. Need your opinion, Ava? Play with the baby, honey. Need your opinion.
She whacked me in the eye.
Okay. Give her a sucky then, sweetie. Need your opinion. Kevin trained her up the other day. She's not as tight, but this is a filly that was legit. It still is legit. And I think she's going to show how legit tonight. Not super tight, but I think she's going to have a very good showing. Wiggle Delight's already taken a mark at 54. She's racing tonight. Inland Beach has paced her last 2 trips in 55, and she's in tonight. Do not forget about our big girl coming back, Trafalgar. She's just about to exit the pool, get x-rayed, and hopefully be back in Harry's Barn next week. Who else we got racing tonight? I don't want to miss anybody. Brushcut's racing tonight. I had a lot of people dump shares in Brushcut, and I don't know why. Brushcut was off 46 days the other day and went out and raced like a Bearcat, got beat a nose for 3rd and 58. Probably pace 56 tonight, I would assume. I was a little perplexed with the share prices, but you know, that's a good thing I think about the stable and the market. It allows people to keep their comfort level, and if you've had a bad year and you want to cut bait and leave, by all means, I mean, we're going to help you do that. There's no handcuffs here at the stable. Canadian Titan's been racing great. Enduring Strength is in tonight with me. Just a ton to talk about. I would like to start also with some concerning news as far as Flamborough Downs. I've instructed Kelly to send out an email this week with email addresses for the AGCO, Ontario Racing, and Flamborough Downs. Probably their social media would be the best place to go. I was very disheartened to hear that they were putting an age limit on their racetrack. This isn't 1970, and I don't know who thought this. This is the stuff. I understand where they're coming from. They're a casino. They're a gaming company, but we have a brand to protect also in horse racing. This has been the most disheartening news I've heard since the slots cancellation in 2012. That Flamborough Downs was legitimately, they said, your kids can go on the tarmac. You have to walk around the building. It's my understanding to get to the tarmac. You can't walk through. And is there food? Is there a chip truck? This is just the most backwards decision for horse racing I've ever seen. As far as a gaming company, I'm not surprised. Their business is 19 and up. Ours is not. We're trying to convince the next generation this sport is not dead. We're trying to bring new people in. And for us, the stable.ca, we're trying to get you to bring your kids out to the track. So I am going to rail against this. Now, Flamborough Downs has been good to us. So I do want to talk to them privately before I start making any public accusations. Maybe it was an honest mistake and they're now moving to correct that. But I still believe we should be sending emails. Sending emails to Ontario Racing, sending emails to the AGCO to bring it to their opinion. There doesn't have to be any scathing reports, but we have worked hard to make sure families are included in horse racing, and this is a step in the opposite direction. Certainly not a step anybody in horse racing needs to or wants to see. So I think it's at least important that us, the people that I would say are most affected in horse racing, stand up and speak up for this. So we will be sending out emails tonight, tomorrow, the next day, explaining our position on it. And again, I'll probably have a press release again. I don't want to have anything scathing in case this was an oversight. I don't know how you would do that, but an oversight. But I do want to put pressure on Ontario Racing, the AGCO, and Flamborough Downs to correct this. This is a disastrous position to take in horse racing in 2019. A nail in the coffin for Flamborough Downs, the beginning of Flamborough Downs as far as horse racing is concerned. From my point of view, something we need to rectify right away. I think we have the numbers to do that. All of you people out there watching this video, I think it is important, vitally important, that you take a minute just to write an email and tell people what you like about horse racing and how this will change your position on Flamborough and potentially horse racing moving forward. This cannot be allowed to happen and certainly not allowed to be duplicated. This is a stand that needs to be taken for the horsemen, from and for the horsemen of horse racing across the board. This isn't just a Flamborough Downs issue. This is a perception issue going forward. Gaming companies own the racetracks all over Ontario. You can only see, you don't have to be a genius to figure out what's going to happen next. If Flamborough's allowed to do this, next will be London or somewhere else. You can walk your kids around the side and up into the dining room, but you can't walk anywhere in the foyer or out front. You can't have that. We have a branding problem with horse racing, and this is only going to make it much, much, much worse. So I implore you to write an email. It doesn't have to be scathing. You don't have to be mean. Just write an email saying that you're dead set against it and why. Obviously, the reasons for everybody are different, but for me, not being able to bring your families out to the track is probably one of the most ludicrous and ridiculous things I've ever heard in my entire life. So that is something that we are going to be pushing very hard in the next week, is to help us out with that. We have the Little Brown Jug. We're going to try and put something together, an impromptu group outing, if you will, with the Little Brown Jug. We'll see what we can get done in that regard. We got a lot of racing this week, a lot of racing tonight, 14 horses today. And now we have a ton of horses also racing. Pocono Sunday, Libero, Hanover, Willpower, Fashion, Harness AM, Just for Me and You, and Path of Totality on Wednesday at the Meadows. Monday, I'm in a fair in Ohio with Ailson Overdue Mission, Susie K. The Colts, I believe, are racing this week also. Sometimes things happen. Rose Run Valiant's racing in a maiden at Northfield. And then the biggest day of the year so far for us, Globetrotting, Spend That Money, Compass Rose, DC. All three of those fillies will line up behind the gate with 5 other horses. 8 horses in Ohio, and 3 of them are ours, going behind the gate for $300,000. And also on that card will be the world record holder at that track record and world record holder. Yes, he'll also be racing for $300,000. What else do we got to talk about this week? We got sales coming up. I'm going to talk about in these videos. It's the sale on Tuesday, what I like about it, what I see about it. There's another sale coming up. I don't see a ton of horses I like in it. I found 6 out of the entire sale. it's a little bit out of the way to get to this sale also, so we're going to look for options as far as the Goshen sale is concerned. Then we also have the Select sale coming up. We're only going to talk about the Ohio sale that's coming up on Tuesday. I don't want to muddy the waters as far as what we're doing. I'm looking right now, we qualified, or we had 68 horses, 68 yearlings in the barn, 2-year-olds in the barn at qualifying day, I believe. I'm looking at 40 of them that are stake contenders this year. Some of them didn't win stakes yet. Knockdown Dragout didn't win a stake yet, and I still believe she's one of our better horses. She's going to be coming back. We're going to talk about her in a little bit. Fall racing, I'm trying to move the pieces around the chessboard so that we have a strong contingency for the fall. We have Elysium Lindy, who we purchased for the fall. We just purchased a horse at a PEI 5-run homer for the fall. We have Totally Tactor for the fall. A number of horses coming back, not led by, but I don't have them in front of me, but I know Anteros is coming back in the fall. What's the little guy's name with the throat? We had Forged in Fire is going to be back and out jogging and training. We have a number of things going on this fall. I promised you last fall would not be repeated, last winter and fall, and it will not be. We should have a webcast coming up soon. Obviously, we have a lot going on in the next 3-4 weeks. At some point, we will put together a webcast. We'll be going over the sales. And we'll have live... What's that? We'll have live webcasts from the sales this year. If Curtis is there, I think that went over well last year. We're going to have all our videos again. But a webcast just to bring everybody up to date, where we sit, what we're doing, how the fall looks, how 2020 looks and beyond. I also want to go over... We also have some people that ask a lot about shipping. They said, well, Anthony, you raced 3 in Ohio, and it was the same price to race 1 as 3 as far as shipping is concerned. Well, a lot of the times we have to pay shippers to bring the horses, and I own 1 truck and 1 trailer. I wish I owned 0 trucks and 0 trailers, but to own those vehicles, I guess, obviously takes some money. And for us to ship, guys, give it a sucky. Thanks. I'll let you don't. For us to ship those horses around is obviously very costly. For us to take 1 horse to Northfield, you might get charged $200. You figure out Kirby and Jason have to go up to Ohio, put the gas in the truck, take the horse up 5 hours before, because you have to be there 3 hours before that, before the races, and then 2 hours shipping from the farm. So 5.5 hours, Kirby and Jason fill the truck up and leave and go to Northfield, ship the 1 horse up there. You get charged, what, $200 for shipping? I just lost money on that. Can't make money on that. When we take 3 horses up, yeah. When we take 3 horses up, it would be 200, 200, 200. We would make money on that trip. It all evens out at the end of the year, and the easiest way for us to track that, guys, the easiest way... Oliver, I don't want to see that again. Sucky, please, Abe. Well, unless she's got a mouth the size of a fish, I doubt she can make those noises with a sucky in her mouth. So, anyway, the issue we have is, in the stable, we charge a per head shipping rate. And people might think, geez, that's a little unfair, isn't it? Do you know how impossible it would be to track the shipping of every horse? And say, okay, Mike McAuliffe, ship 2 to the fair for us, and it's X amount of dollars. If it's more than 200, we don't charge you more than 200. We charge you the 200 because that's what it is. It's the only fair way that we can possibly do it. And I understand, in a perfect world, we would charge the shipping, the total cost, divided by 3, but we don't also factor in the truck, how much it's going to cost to fix any parts that have to be fixed on the truck or the trailer. The shipping part of the industry, I don't want to be in. And if there's anybody out there that wants to buy a truck and buy a trailer and take care of the shipping for the stable.ca, that is fantastic. I would love to hear from those people. We use a mountain of shippers to take our horses because I don't want the overhead of a truck and a trailer. I know everybody out there thinks it's a great gig. Just fill the truck and trailer up and head down the road. I know people that do it, and it's not very much fun. And there's not a ton of money to be made in the shipping business. I'd rather not be in it if I could. But at the end of the day, again, we do the best we can, and I guess what we need to do is make it clearer in the contracts. We started off with a contract that was virtually, when we opened our doors at the stable, it was virtually a gentleman's handshake contract, a page or 2 long. Now it's turned into 4 or 5, and I think if we're going to move forward, we have to be more specific also and tell people that we charge a per head shipping fee per horse. It's the only fair way to do it, and if anybody wants to change that, you can buy a truck and you can buy a trailer and you can ship for the stable.ca, because I don't want to be in the shipping business at all. Anyway, I know it's a bit of a frustrating issue, and there's probably people out there saying, no, Anthony, it should be easy. You just put it in a diary. Kirby took one and Mike took two, and then I'd have to take that diary every week, give that to Wendy, bill out the costs, because if we don't have flat rates, it's going to be different for Debbie to take a horse, and Cindy to take a horse, Mike to take a horse, Jason and Kirby to take a horse. It would never be the same. It could be the same, but if we ask Mike to ship 2 to the fair, it's really up to Mike to tell us how much it's going to cost. There's not a bartering system where I can say, okay, Mike doesn't want to, so we're going to ask Daniel or John or Pete. It doesn't work that way. There's not a ton of people going a ton of places, and I'm not buying 5 trucks and 5 trailers. That is not going to happen. You know, when I had a stable before, the trucks and trailers sat there, and all it does is cost money. And I don't want to be in the shipping business. So if there is an owner out there that does want to be in the shipping business, you're in the right place, because there's a position for you at thestable.ca. Anyway, that's a lot of it. We got a webcast that's going to be coming up. We're going to talk heavily about the sales in these videos. We're going to talk about in the sales this fall. It's an important point also. In the sales this fall, we're going to have a number of groups. Now, we've been contacted. As you can imagine, we're up over 700 clients now at thestable.ca. You can imagine we have a number of people that want a number of different things. I am quite comfortable buying horses the way we buy them. They're value-based. A horse like Bend Over, yeah, we paid 16, I think, for him. We only got 16 for him. He didn't make a lot of money. We lost on Bend Over, but we didn't lose a lot. And when you start buying horses for $80, $100, $120, $200,000, you'd want to win a lot of stake races, and there's a tough road ahead to get your money out and turn a profit. This isn't Tony Alagna's barn, right? And this isn't Casey's barn. This is Anthony's barn, and I like to, and I say this over and over and over again, I like to treat everybody's money like it's mine. When we buy a horse, and I believe we paid less for it than it actually was worth in my mind, I believe we've just made our first dollar with that horse. That horse hopefully trains down good, gets to the races, and starts racing in the stake races, whether it's be Spend That Money or Compass Rose DC or Yes or West 52nd or White Tiger. Those horses should be able to hold their value. If they're any good at all, they'll hold the value that we have into them, which means nobody's going to lose their shirt. Now, having said that, when you look at the vast majority of horses that win all the big races, they're expensive horses. A lot of the times they're expensive horses. I truly believe if we continue to buy horses the way we do, we'll get a champion. We'll get a good horse. I don't know when that'll be. We have a lot of effective horses. As I said, I have 38 or 40 horses that are racing competitively in stake races right now out of the 68 we broke. A number of those, say another 10, are on their way back to the races. They could be effective horses. A very small amount of our horses were deemed ineffective last year. We were lucky. We had a great 2019 so far. But what does that mean for the people that want to own a world champion? There are people amongst us. There are groups of people that truly believe, Anthony, if you pick out an expensive-looking, well-conformed filly or colt, I'd like to see what happens with that horse in the stable. Up front with you, I wouldn't do it because it's really expensive and there's a lot of money to be lost in that game. That's a big gamble. But think of it this way. Obviously, it's pretty simple. The more money you gamble, the more chance you have to lose everything. And for the people out there that want to roll that dice, that want to try that out, yeah, I can find a horse that I like. I'm always going to have those value goggles on if I can. But I'm going to look for a horse that is going to go for a lot of money. We've done that over the past. We haven't had a lot of luck. In fact, we were lucky in the fact that we did not get the colt in Ohio I wanted last year. I was out at $95,000. He went for $125, $130, something like that. Anyway, he sold for $6,500 the other day in the Meadowlands sale. So we were lucky that we didn't get a horse in that regard. It's a tough game. There's a lot of slippery ice at the top of that mountain, and you know, for the people that are going in with their eyes wide open saying, yes, Anthony, I understand the risk. At the same time, I want to take it. Okay. There's a lot of people, actually, that seem to be okay with that. And if you are, I will find you a horse. I will try and find you a horse. And we will buy 1 or 2 horses. If you'd like to spend $80 for a horse, fine. $120, $130, or whatever. There are people out there that want to buy into a real good horse. So obviously, when you check the boxes and you say top family, top pedigree, a real good-looking horse on paper, then you look at the video and that horse looks immaculate. You go and look at the horse, it looks like an Adonis. We all know that horse is going to bring a lot of money, but the chances of that horse being in the winner's circle somewhere late in the fall in the Grand Circuit, I guess, is more likely than a much more affordable animal, and that's understandable. But at the same time, there's also a lot of people buying a lot of expensive horses. I would be concerned, put it that way. I'm concerned, and maybe I'm not in the same position some of our clients are as far as what they're willing to risk, so maybe that's where my trepidation comes from. But at the same time, every year we look, and we will look again this year. So we will put together one or two groups of people that are looking for maybe something a little more. Many of you may or may not have known already, but we have a group of people inside of the stable called the Global Group. The Global Group had purchased a lot of shares and a lot of horses late in the spring last year. Hey, Ava. A lot of horses late in the spring last year, and they have sizable share totals in some pretty exciting horses right now. We did that. Maybe we'll do something like that this year also. We're always looking to fill everybody's basket, so to speak. If there's something you want or something you would like to see, drop me a line, because the stable is forever changing. It's always very fluid. You know that, whether it be the market or the way we buy and sell horses, and that's going to change also. We're going to continue to be more aggressive with the way we do that moving forward. We don't want to move away from our core statement of what we do, which is, we want to provide a lot of excitement and a great experience for fans, new and old, in this game, and an affordable way to get involved. That will never change. But at the same time, we have to look at the bottom line and what's best for our clients. A perfect example was Bendover, and the reason that we sold him. Bendover might be a nice 3-year-old, but in my estimation, he's not going to be an effective stake horse moving forward. So that's where the rubber hits the road. Where is the effectiveness, and what constitutes a horse we want to keep? I think it's on a case-by-case basis, but when it comes to Bendover, I think 16,000 American was just the right amount of money to get him sold. So, a bit of all over the place in this video a little bit, but I have so much to talk about in the coming weeks. That I thought it was important to go over a number of topics. I think the highlights of what we just talked about are very simple. I do think we need to have a strong email campaign and social media campaign against the decisions at Flamborough Downs to for the most part, restrict the plant itself, the Flamborough plant itself, to 19 years and older. I think that's a massive mistake for harness racing and a huge detriment going forward for our industry. And I think I would implore, again, ask everybody, we will provide some emails for you to reach out. Simply send an email to all 3 entities, or however many emails we give you, to say, listen, this is a big mistake, this is why. The industry needs to be heard, and we can help with that. Secondly, we want to put together a quick group, maybe to go to the Little Brown Jug Week. I believe most of our horses are racing on Jugette Day, so I will reach out, look at the calendar exactly when those horses are supposed to race, and make a decision what we can do. Reach out and see what we can do, what options we have to get as many of our clients in somewhere. I would love to go to the tent, but we'll see. In somewhere to watch the races and have a lot of fun. Watching horses race Little Brown Jug Week is probably one of the #1 things on a lot of people in the industry's bucket list. They all want to go to Jug Week. They all want to see the Little Brown Jug. It is a good time and a great time. So we want to be able to do that for you too. That's number 2. 3, we got a lot to talk about with the sales coming up and groups for the sales. That will lead into probably a webcast in the next couple of weeks. So a ton, as I said, a ton to go over, a ton to talk about. We're well over 30 minutes right now. We'll cut you guys loose, and we will be back in a minute with the stables, the sales, the horses, a lot to talk about.